speaking and welcoming Senator Bennet.
Brittany Pettersen, your welcome. Thank you, Brittany, for being here. Thank you, J.P. County, for being here. What an unbelievable turnout. Do not tell them that I said this. But I think we have more people in Chaffey County than we had with Joe Goose in Boulder County. So thanks, and I know that's a reflection on how much you love her and how worried you are. P.T. Wood, thank you for your introduction, for your service, and your partnership. We appreciate it. Your county commissioners have been great partners in this part of the world for many years, no matter what party they've been, because they're simply trying to represent you the best way they can, and they understand, I think, the fundamental responsibilities of a public servant in a democracy. I am deeply appreciative for the example that they have set. I'm also deeply appreciative for the example that Brittany sets every time she gets on the airplane. It's one thing, she now has 2 children under the age of 5. And she gets on that plane just like everybody else. She drives herself to the airport, gets herself to the plane, brings Sam with her, gets to the other end, takes care of Sam, advocates on behalf of our democracy and our state, gets back on the plane with Sam and comes all the way back here. I was sitting in the Intelligence Committee last week, and that's actually not a bad place to work because it's in secret. So people, like the jackass quotient goes down a lot. There are no cameras and there's nobody looking from outside, but there are these little TV sets, and I could see Brittany on it. I didn't have the sound on, but I could see her advocating for her bill, for moms to be able to vote locally. And I was so proud of what she was trying to do to democratize the place. It needs her voice. It needs her voice. And I am grateful that all of you are out here. We are here, all of us are here, because we are deeply worried about our country. You know, like you, my parents raised me to have high aspirations for the United States of America, high aspirations for our democracy. We all have our own family stories. I know Brittany's family story well because we've known each other for a long time. In my case, my dad was a public servant for much of his career. He was a federal employee, actually. And my mom was an immigrant who had been born in Warsaw in 1938, a Polish Jew born the year before Hitler invaded Warsaw, probably the worst place in the world you could have been born at that time. And her parents and she, after they had survived the war, miraculously made it to the United States. My mom was 11 years old, the only one in the family who could speak any English, and she enrolled herself in the New York public schools. And my grandparents, who had they thought they didn't have accents the whole time that I was growing up, but had among the thickest accents of anybody that I know, were among the greatest patriots I have ever known, because they love this country for our democracy, for our rule of law, for the fact that they could participate even with those accents, even with their religion, even though they come from someplace else. They could participate in the life of our democracy. I'll never forget my grandmother telling me the story of going to the lunch counter near the small business that they had in New York and seeing after he was president of the United States, Harry Truman sitting at the end of the lunch counter eating lunch with my grandmother. And to her, that's what this country was all about. She would be shocked to find ourselves in the position that we are in. And I think it is critical for us to stand up at this moment. We all have to. We all have to. And by the way, if you're looking for an antidote to the social media that is tearing us apart, to the digital world that is It is being here tonight. It is being here tonight. It is being connected with your friends and neighbors. Totally outdated what we have to say as showing up for the democracy. And tonight, that's what you've done. And that's what we have to do every single day for as long as this guy is president. We need to make sure that the guardrails of this democracy hold, and they will. But we've learned something very important that my grandparents knew, and that people all over the world know, which is who have lived in corrupt countries where they've been subjected to political violence and there is no rule of law. What they know is that there is nothing self-executing about a democracy. A democracy doesn't take care of itself. If the people don't show up, the democracy will perish. And our democracy will perish if we don't show up. That's why